Hey everybody, this is Gus G and I'm hanging out here
with Chris Broderick.
And we're both stoked to be on the cover of Guitar World this month.
That's right.
Yep.
Go pick it up.
And I've also partnered up with Guitar World to give away 10,000 copies of my brand new solo album, Brand New Revolution. So check it out. I hope you dig it. And here with Chris today, we're kicking back and talking about guitars, about our influences, about riffs and licks that we both did on our new albums. Chris has his new band Act of Defiance coming out, right?
Yeah, and you've got your solo project coming out.
Yeah, and we were talking about influences earlier on. Some of my influences, for example, growing up was also Tony Iommi and Randy Rhoads and Zach Weiland and those guys. It's like I always look back and I learned guitar from those guys, not like literally like sitting down and playing with them, but
listening,
absorbing, exactly all those things. And I mean, and how was it for you? Obviously you played Megadeth for all these years and played all those iconic thrash metal solos in the songs, and what was your approach to the gig?
My whole approach was just to try and it would almost be like as if I hoped Marty heard me play and he'd say, you know what, he did a good job, because I always think, with my classical guitar upbringing, that you always want to do the composer justice, and so that would be doing Marty justice, and so I tried to get it as accurately as possible, and the only thing I think that kind of comes through in yourself is your own natural sense of musicality. You interpret the notes as best you can.
Yes.
And then you play them with a little bit of your feel.
Yes. Your own touch, your own tone.
Yeah.
So that's you cannot take that away. And that was exactly the same way that I approached the gig with Ozzy as well. It's like try to do the songs justice. I know the fans, and I know Ozzy wants to hear them as they were recorded, originally. And these songs are iconic, so you have to approach a gig like that with a lot of love and respect for who was there before, and do the songs justice. Like I say, make those guys proud if they were there to inside the stage hearing you or something.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you gotta you cannot be somebody else. You cannot replace those guys.
Yeah.
They're their own person, and you have to bring your own flavor to this. At the
Absolutely.
Same time. Yeah, without changing too much of all this.
Right. So for me, I kind of had to break it down into a sense of tonality and harmonic, where the harmony is leading. And so the first thing I established was that we have a nice D minor 9, which Marty Friedman is a huge fan of ninths through learning all of his past solos. I see a lot of them in his stuff. And then he adds a sharp 4, and that's really, to me, one of the coolest notes. That kind of Hungarian gypsy minor sound, right?
Yeah.
And then he still hasn't resolved, and that's his resolution note right there. So he kind of wraps all of these interesting harmonies, the D minor 9 with the sharp 11, and also
a lot of chromatic runs, like passages through the actual to get to the notes he lands on. He always did that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I love that stuff. So, one of the things so that was a lick that I had used in the new Act of Defiance.
Right.
And, I just tried to encircle the note of resolution,
Right. That's cool, man. That's excellent.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Any particular type of influence that you felt, Zach or Randy? Actually, you'd shown some influence earlier with the tapping kind of.
Yeah, those kind of things. Like where. Kind of things. I mean, Randy was a very linear player with that, with scales and stuff, and I think I definitely got that from him, and the way he kind of constructed his solos, everything was he influenced me on that, every solo has to have a beginning part, a middle, and an ending. It has to be like a.
It's its own story, right?
Yeah, it has to be a musical statement. Whether you play slow or fast notes, it doesn't really matter. It has to have a musical meaning. and that's what I really got out, you know, from him, you know. So, you know, obviously all those, you know, those kind of things I got from Randy as well. You know?
Yeah.
And of course, you know, Zach Wild, you know, he had this hardcore pentatonic approach,
Yeah.
you know, the tune over string. Those kind of things, and I like that, you know. It was something different.
That kind of mixes his and Randy's influence
It
because
does.
of the descending chromatic stuff that Randy.
Right, Randy. Like I don't know, and those things. Yeah, so I guess it's, like I said, subconsciously it stays there, and then you kind of like interpret it your own way. You know?
Yeah. You know, one of the funny things where, you know, it's not a direct influence of Zach because I don't think he uses economy picking, but definitely when I started working with economy picking, I tend to like to use it for odd note groupings. So if you think about the pentatonic's perfect because you get.
So you do like that.
So I start with an up.
I really play fives actually. I don't do odd groups. I do either like fours or sixes. I'm that kind of.
That's quintuple. Yeah.
That kind of thing, you know.
So tell me about your guitar.
The guitar, it's an ESP signature model that I've had for 10 years, and you know, every couple of years I revamp them. You know,
Right.
kind of like,
Right.
you know, I'll change it up a bit, introduce new models, and you know, just because I get bored playing the same guitar, you know, all the time. I mean, I stick to this weird shapes that they're called the random stars. You know, I'm very involved in you know, in how we make those guitars. Like you know, obviously that's what a signature model or product should be about. You know, you have to be involved with all these things. So you know, like the latest version is this one right here, which is like a matte black color, no binding, just like very gothic looking.
Yep.
And you know, I play rosewood fretboards. You play ebony, right?
Ebony, yeah. For as long as it's still around.
Right.
It won't be much longer. So.
No, I mean, you know, so this is like my first 24 fret model. I always had 22 frets, so this time I went 24 frets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've designed these Seymour Duncan pickups. They're called the Fire Blackouts. They're like, they look passive, but they're active. Like
Really?
Yeah. It's like, it's like, you know, I went to Seymour Duncan guys like a few years back and I said, why do you have to be either a passive player or an active player? Why can't we combine the two? And they thought that was an interesting idea, so we developed this thing where it's like, you know, it's a passive coil, but then you turn it into
boost.
active.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have the preamp under the volume knobs under here.
Right.
And what does that? It kind of like gives you like best of both worlds. You still have the high output and the gain of an active pickup.
Right.
But you still hear like, you know, you
the
hear
tone,
the tone. You hear the you hear the tone. It doesn't really cut out the wood and the sound.
That's the funny thing about me and actives is that I love them recorded, and I love hearing other people playing because they have so much saturation, right, and so much gain. But after playing them for a while, it's like I have issues with it, like because everything's so compressed and even.
So
sounding.
these are passive.
These are passives,
Yeah. And what about your guitars, man? Is this a new one?
This one's been around for a few years.
All right.
But you know, it's got some variations coming out eventually. So.
Was it the guitar that we you brought into the shoot yesterday?
Yeah. Right. Not only the crazy shaped one, which I have no idea what to call, but also a hardtail version of this.
Right. Okay. Cool. That's good. Yeah.
Which I can't wait to get out because there's always players that don't want to deal with a tremolo.
I'm one of them, man. I had a guitar with Floyd and I never really used it, and it's a pain in the ass for me to have the tuning here and here, and then it's combining all these things, and then and so you know, and I also felt it was killing, you know, taking away the sustain a bit. So I you know,
really,
yeah, I just felt that, man.
That's so weird, because for me, one of the reasons I still stick with the Floyd is because of the
sustain.
sustain. Yeah.
So I guess everybody feels it differently. You know, it goes to show you. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's no, yeah, to each his own, you know, whatever. So I mean, you know, stop tail bridge for me, I somehow.
Yeah, I like the fact that you went top mounted too, because I don't like string throughs that much. Like that, to me, they're kind
right. Yeah.
So, and I don't know, I can't perceive a tone change like if you string through as opposed to top mount.
I don't know. I guess, you know, whatever. It's about the feel, how it feels like when you're playing. You know, if that's you know, if your hand sits right here, you know, and you feel that right. Yeah. For example, like if I pick up this guitar, I won't be able to even palm it now. So,
right.
You know what I mean? It will feel weird.
Things like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So these are our guitars.